Hey guys, today we are doing the Seraphic Gate in Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria. So, I want to make this clear first, this is post-commentary. I did all of this, like, off-screen, basically, without doing commentary. So I'm not doing it live, I'm basically commentating over what I was doing when I basically streamed the game on my alt channel so I could get footage. And yeah, well, it wasn't really to get footage. I was mainly streaming this just simply for fun. I just decided to do this for fun. As you can see, I've done a lot of grinding. Like, a lot of grinding. I didn't think anyone wanted to sit through the grind, so I'm not going to show that. I'm messing the party up a little bit because I want to, like, gain some skills on people and, like, just make it a little bit more interesting. But this is kind of, like, sort of my main party. The only difference is I put Lazard in there instead of Freya, but for some, like, I decided to put Freya in just simply to teach her some skills, just for the sake of it. And yeah, basically, I'll be doing a few bits in this. Like, I won't be doing the dog stories because, well, like, I just didn't do it at this point. I didn't see the point at this point. I don't know. Maybe I can do the dog stories one day. I don't know. But right now, I'm just showing the actual Seraphic Gate. So, obviously, this is the 11th run of the Seraphic Gate, which is why my characters are so powerful, and I've done a lot of grinding. And I've already got some gear from the Seraphic Gate, so I've done all the gear stuff. I'm basically just, like, trying to just gain skills and learn skills for Valkyrie right now, and seeing what I can learn so that I can kind of, like, get as many skills as possible, just for the sake of it, just for completion's sake. And yeah, like, at this point, like, I have basically everything that you need to actually beat this game's bonus dungeon, and I'm doing the 11th run, which is, like, the final run. The Seraphic Gate has 11, like, runs. What I mean by this is basically you do the Seraphic Gate, like, once, and then you have to do it again, and then the second time when you do it, it gets tougher, and it gets tougher and tougher and tougher the more you do it. And eventually, on the 11th run, it's its toughest, and you really need to be highly leveled to do it. Now, the thing about it is that I have perfect released all of my Iron Hair, so I don't have any Iron Hair at this point. There are no Iron Hair, all I have is the main cast. And I perfect released and gave Dylan every single stat boost, so I've basically given him everything that I can. There's also a Sealstone Transvestal Lore, and he also has the White Loincloth. The White Loincloth is given to you by the boss we are about to fight, Gabriel Celeste, and you'll see that coming up. But the other thing to note is he also has the Magic Dragon Horn, which is a drop from Bahamut, which is on floor 5. Now, to get it to drop from Bahamut, you basically have to break his horn, which I find Hurst's Armor Break is the best way to do that personally, but it's not the only way to do that. And yeah, to perfect release you need to get a lot of stuff. I'll probably go into it in a little bit, but first we're going to fight Gabriel Celeste. I skipped the cutscenes here because I've seen them a million times. If you want to see the cutscenes, obviously, just play the game yourself. Like, seriously, at this point, just play the game yourself. But I'm just going to show you just me fighting Gabriel Celeste and just how strong I am at this point. At this point, really, I only need one character, and that's Dylan. I don't need anybody else. Dylan can basically do everything himself. Dylan is the best character in the game. As you can see by that damage, that is why. He is a killer machine if I've ever seen one. The only problem with Gabriel Celeste is, well, not necessarily Gabriel Celeste, but like Dylan, is his full swing kind of like moves him a little bit, so he doesn't hit in the back. Unless, like, he does, but the thing is that the problem with Dylan's full swing is that when he uses it, the recovery animation kind of moves him a little bit, and it moves him away, and like it moves him around him, so unless you can like continuously hit with full swing, cancelling out the recovery animation, there you see I've got the White Loincloth there, that's where you get it. I think you have to hit him from the front to get it, if I recall. I don't know if it's like a drop, but I know you can get it from hitting him at the front. Now, as I say, you can cancel full swing and he won't move, but if you don't cancel full swing, he will move. Like, but the thing is, like, at least from what I've seen, like, I'm not entirely sure, people, I'm just gonna say this, but, like, if you know, like, if you play Valkyrie Profile 2, you'll know that trying to, like, the way when you hit an enemy, like, there's, like, a little bit of a recovery, and the recovery knocks him around. Now, obviously, if you have break mode, you're not going to get that recovery. You can just constantly, like, spam the move. Now, I'm not really 100% sure if the recovery actually affects... Like, I'm not really sure about the recovery. I'm going to be honest how it works. All I'm going to say is this fight is kind of bad. Like, Jesus Christ, fucking Dylan's already frozen. It's unbelievable. And I'm just like, you know what, fuck this. I'm not going to waste my time doing this. Yeah, the Seraphic Gate can be pretty mean, even when you are ridiculously high level. But the thing is that, as I say, like, I don't really know about the cancelling fully, but I just know that if you use full swing from behind, Dylan will move around with his recovery. That's all I'm going to say. I don't, like, but obviously if you have break mode, like, you can just kind of, like, it's sort of like, it's a little different. I think it cancels it out, but I'm not sure. Based on what I saw in that footage, it looked like it did, though. That's all I'm going to say. I'm trying to make it clear that I'm not confirming anything. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, it looked like that. But that's just something to bear in mind when you're fighting Gabe, is that he basically, like, when you're using Dylan in general, really, like, his full swing recovery, like, his recovery animation after full swing will move him, and that can be problematic when you're right behind an enemy and you don't want to move from your position. That's one of the disadvantages to using Dylan over Zunde, but you can't really, like, I mean, technically you can perfect, well, you can't, because Zunde is required for perfect release, so yeah, like, you need to, he's at 9 Heya. I mean, if you wanted to, you can perfect release Erd, but I personally don't see the point. I mean, like, I don't know, like, some people like doing that, but I just don't. I don't see the point. Like, Dylan has the tier thing, and he has the Conqueror's Armor, so he gets a lot of attack boosts with his base attack, whereas Erd, you need to actually do a little bit of investment in him, and think to, like, kind of make him a little bit better. Like, if you're gonna, like, invest in golden eggs, eventually you can reach a point where he may even be stronger than Dylan. But I think given the fact that I'm just doing the basic, like, perfect release here, I think what I'm doing with Dylan is probably for the best right now, because he has ultimately a better weapon in terms of damage, and his attacks, like, he has an attack with, like, the most damage potential, so yeah. Anyways, here we have Odin. Odin can be deadly. The thing about Odin that's important if you're doing perfect release is you want to, and I mean you want to, direct assault him, and this can be very difficult. But there is a seal stone called Transvestal Law, which you can actually put in the dais, and that will change the gender of Odin, which makes him susceptible to the white loincloth. This is very important because if you don't do this, it's going to be a much harder time getting hold of the Sylphan Robe which he has, which you need to perfect release in order to make Dylan as strong as he is right now. Now, obviously, because Dylan is super powerful, he can just beat the crap out of Odin effortlessly at this point, and it's not really much of a problem. Now, Odin can be deadly because his Great Buster move can hit for a massive area. Don't be deceived by the red, like, attack area. Like, it can go beyond that, and it can potentially wipe your whole party. So yeah. Now, as you can see, I'm dealing damage in, like, the 100,000s. From behind, I'm dealing like 800,000 to Woden. Now, it is possible to go beyond that with Dylan. The reason why I don't bother doing that is because it's a pain in the ass and you have to do a specific setup, which is kind of annoying. And I don't want to do that when I'm just recording a video. But yeah, I got a Sylphan Robe there. But I didn't direct assault him, but it didn't really matter because I've already done the perfect release, so it's not really essential for me to do that. So I got the Sylphan Robe, didn't perfect release, there we go. That's basically it. It's not essential at this point, so I don't show direct assaulting him, but obviously if you have, like, the right seal stone on, and, like, if you prep him up for it, you can direct assault him. A lot of the Seraphic Gate, the challenges of the Seraphic Gate, particularly if you want to, like, perfect release, a lot of the challenges of perfect release are basically getting your damage, like, the damage that you deal to be as high as possible, so that you can essentially get direct assaults. Direct assaults are the main challenge of the post-game of Valkyrie Profile 2, and the best way to get a direct assault is to deal as much damage as possible, and essentially, I'd say DPS, but it's not a real-time game, but yeah, get as much damage done as possible so that you can kill them before the little egg timer runs out. You can equip like the Treasure Blessing Sealstone, which is definitely very handy in the Seraphic Gate to get items needed for perfect release. So if you need to actually equip that, then that can definitely be handy. And obviously there's other factors to be aware of as well, because when you are doing the Seraphic Gate, there's a lot of treasures that you want to get, and particularly if you're not using Dylan throughout the gate, and there's a lot of seal stones that you need to find to make things easier. It's one of those dungeons where you basically have to engage with mostly all of it. It's a very short dungeon, but if you want to go far, particularly if you want to dominate in like the 11th run, you really have to like indulge in everything to get hold of everything. Not everything is essential. Like there's certain items that you just don't need to get here. But the essential things are the perfect release stuff, and mainly the drops from enemies and bosses. There are a few treasure chests in the Seraphic Gate. The main treasure chests that you want to look for are the treasure chests that have the Bloody Murder, which is Bram's ultimate weapon, which is important for me because I use Bram's. You'll want to get the Demon Sword Levantine, which is the ultimate weapon for Light Warriors, alongside the Valkyrie Favor and the Dainslev. Also the Dainslev, which is the other ultimate weapon, which has the highest attack value in the game for Light Warriors, but the thing about the Dainslev is that with Psychosoma, Demon Sword Levantine is better. Same goes for the Valkyrie Favor, it's beaten by the Demon Sword Levantine with Psychosoma, because Demon Sword Levantine has 1000 magic on top of that, which when you put that with Psychosoma, you're dealing more damage. Now, all three weapons are viable in different ways. The Dainslev is great if you basically don't want to use 3 attacks, because it only has 2. So if you're basically doing a setup where you only use like 2 attacks, and that's all you want to do, then the Dainslev is probably a good choice, particularly if you don't want to use Psychosoma. But and yeah, Lazard's very cheeky on the later runs of the Seraphic Gate. He gets the first move off a lot of the time, and yeah, he can just kill you, which is kind of a little bit annoying, but Hurst is prepared. I've made her a little bit of a tank. I've given her a tank setup. The tank setup is as follows. I basically give her the G-Seed, I give her the Homunculus Seed, I give her the Tri-Emblem, and I give her the... Actually, no, I don't think I give her the G-Seed. I give her the Hamstar. Yeah, I give her the Hamstar, not the G-Seed. My bad. I give her the Hamstar, and I've forgotten what the other one is, but there is another item that I give her. But yeah, that's basically what I do for the tank build. I'm trying to think of what the item is. I know that by default she has the Mithril Armor, which is the best armor in the game for tank builds. So if you're going to do a tank build, definitely give your character the Mithril Armor, because that will give them a lot of resistance. Resistance is more important than anything in this game, because a lot of attacks are elemental, and there is an armor that you can get that can essentially make you immune to pure physical damage, and that is the whatchamacallit, it's the Flame Mist, that's it. And the Flame Mist can be handy, but only in certain situations. So you want to kind of make sure you have a lot of resistance on your characters, and you only need 2 at this point. Just get one with high resist, and then just get one that's just a pure glass cannon, which is Dylan in this case. As you can see here, Dylan is basically murdering Lazard. Lazard decides that he's bent on killing Valkyrie as per usual, and decides to throw a like double-bladed sword, which is supposed to be a lance at them. And Dylan just continues to whack Lazard like he's the fucking pinata, because that's what Dylan likes to do. He likes to smash things up, and I love how you can break Lazard's limbs off and he drops like fucking action figures of Lenneth. Yep, that's what they are. They're literally like prize figures that he's collected, similar to the one I have in my cabinet. Yep, I have a full color Lenneth figure myself. Ooh, it exists. It's the Square Enix figure line. They are the trading figures for Square Enix trading figures, and there is one of Lenneth, and I actually have that figure, so they are real. Well, maybe not like the metallic Lenneth, that's not real, but the full color Lenneth is real. I don't know if I won't say the Amber Lenneth is real. I know there's an Ivory Lenneth, but I don't know. But this guy has them all, which is because he's the biggest Lenneth fanboy of all time, so of course he has everything. He has every figure. So yeah, we're just gonna beat the crap out of him because he's Lazard and he's yeah, like he's kind of a messed up guy, and you know we need to deal justice to him so that he can not be a threat to not to be a threat to society. And yeah, as you can see, he uses Animate Earth, which is Fire Elemental. And thankfully the Tri-Emblem protects against Fire Elemental, which is why Hurst is still alive. And that's why I give her the Tri-Emblem, so that she is immune to fire. And yeah, fire is like very commonly used by a lot of like enemies, and it's very handy to have fire resistance. But yeah. And also, Lazard drops Hurst's ultimate weapon, making Hurst probably the easiest character to, like, kind of the easiest character to max out on. Like, if you want to, like, have an easy time in the Seraphic Gate, I would recommend bringing Hurst into the party immediately, just simply because she can get her ultimate weapon early, and you don't really have to do much work to make her viable. Whereas, for example, with Dylan and, like, Heavy Warriors, even though Heavy Warriors are pretty damn good, and they are worth a damn, which is why I use Sunday, like, you have to actually do a bit of work because you have to get the tier thing, which is the ultimate weapon for the Heavy Warriors. And yeah, that's not easy to get because you have to fight Tiamat, which is basically a challenge in itself because Tiamat has regen. Now you can fight Tiamat on floor 4. He's in one of the bottom floors of floor 4, like right at the bottom. There's like a trapped treasure chest with a goddess tincture, I think, in the middle. And like there's like 2 rooms, one leading to the exit to get to the beginning of the Seraphic Gate, and one that leads to another room, which is puzzle room, where you can get the Bloody Murder, which is Bram's ultimate weapon. Now, on the stairway to the left-hand side of that, it's a similar room to this actually. Like, you're going to see an enemy, and if you hit that enemy, it might be like a normal encounter, but there's a chance that it will be Tiamat. Now, Tiamat has health regeneration. The thing about that is, oh, and that's one of the dog houses, by the way, that I was mentioning. I'm not going to show them right now, so yeah. But Tiamat has the ability to regenerate his health, similar to the trolls that you fought before in the game, but he regenerates a lot of health. And because of this, it's very difficult to kill him in time to get a direct assault. It's very hard to kill him in general, but getting a direct assault is the easiest way to score the tier thing. The problem is, getting a direct assault on Tiamat is very difficult. So, basically, like, to beat Tiamat, like, you really have to, like, it's not easy. I'm just gonna say that. But my way is to equip the Bahamut's tier instead of the Sword of Meat, because that has Dragon Slayer, and then equip Descaling Might and Giant Slayer, and you have like triple damage on him. Like, you know, like you have the triple critical skills on him, so you can deal a ton of damage. And yeah, that's my way of like dealing with him. It's not always the best, but when push comes to shove, then eventually it is possible. I managed to do it. I managed to direct assault eventually. But it's not easy. I'm just going to say that. It's not easy. It's a battle of attrition trying to direct assault him, that's all I'm going to say. Anyways, this is floor 4, which is the most important floor in the entirety of the Seraphic Gate, because there's a lot to do here, and there's a lot of devastating enemies that will bum you in seconds if you're not careful. Like, one of these enemies that I'm just walking past right now, if they back attack you, you will instantly die because you won't be able to move, and they'll just ambush you and just spam magic, and then you won't be able to do anything and you die instantly. That's happened to me so many times. It's unreal, and I can't believe, like, it's unbelievable how many times that has happened to me, but it's true. And, yeah, so, as you can see here, I think what I'm doing here is I'm getting the, like, white loincloth, because, like, now the boss that we're fighting is a woman. All the bosses in the game at this point are female, and female characters are susceptible to the white loincloth, which is kind of like a critical skill, sort of, but it's an item only, you can't learn it, but it's an item exclusive critical skill, basically, that essentially increases damage even further with female characters, so you can deal more damage, which is great. Now, as I say, you don't need transvestal lore for this, so you can just go with, like, the Sealstone that's there, which is Rust Wrath, which is fine enough, and yeah, eventually you're just gonna find out that you're just benefiting, so yeah, it's all good. Anyways, yeah, Freya is pretty straightforward at this point. Like, there's not really that much you can do, like, especially if you've beaten Lazard, like she doesn't have a great magic that can hit everybody, and that makes her a lot easier because all of her attacks are like single target. Aside from like her regular attacks, which you want to avoid obviously, but you can basically split apart everybody, and yeah. And yeah, that's the problem with Dylan, like he kind of moves around and stuff, but he will reset to where he was originally, so that's not the problem. It's on the like later attacks where he'll just move around, and that's the one downside to Dylan of his Undead. But it's not that big of a deal because full swing more than makes up for it. But yeah, as you can see there, when he does that recovery, you can keep him behind her, and that's how you get around it. But you have to kind of have him like do that back step and then go back into attacking. That's kind of how I find it. Like, it's weird, but like it's hard to explain. But like, let's put it this way: there is a way to kind of obviously. Sometimes he will go around, particularly if you don't let him do that backdash recovery. Like, it's sort of a weird thing, I don't know, but that's kind of what it seems to me. But it's very important that you understand what's going on here on the screen and just how significant the backdash is. The same goes for Hurst as well. She's another character that benefits from the backdash, because one of her moves, if you don't backdash, then you'll completely miss on the connection with the move, because her move requires a certain amount of distance from the enemy, so the backdash is critical for her if you're going to use her in battle. So yeah, she's another character that you want to use that backdash, because that backdash will kind of like cancel out. But the thing is, the backdash, it's weird because like if you take too long, you'll basically give the enemy their turn, sort of. That you'll go back out, you'll leave the battle phase, but you're still in the battle phase for like a small amount of time within that backdash, and you can utilize that time to essentially keep your back to her and then continue attacking. And the best thing about it is with the backdash is that when you do it, you'll kind of be a bit of a distance away from her, so it's actually harder for her to hit you. But then again, she just used Ether Strike, so what do I know? Like, but it doesn't really matter because she Ether Striked herself. Yeah, like, Freya doesn't like the fact that I have her in the party, apparently. So, yeah, she's like, there can only be one! Yeah, that's basically the gist of it. Hurst needs to get the fuck out of there, and I don't know, is she gonna use a charge break, or is she gonna, like, revive her nemesis right here? So that Freya's clone can like get some experience, which I thought, yeah, let's keep Freya alive. And yeah, she drops the Star Guard. The Star Guard isn't really that important to get. It's a decent piece of gear, but honestly, the Wind Glove is probably your best bet, because the Wind Glove gives you extra Avoid, and Avoid is more important than RDM. RDM isn't really that important in this game. Resistance and Avoid are the most important stats. So if you want to get a tanky equipment, you want to get the arm gear that has Avoid, and the Wind Glove has Avoid, so you want to get the Wind Glove instead. But the Star Guard does have a lot of RDM, so that's just something to bear in mind. Anyways, I decided to go with my main party here, which, as you can see, they're all max level. And yeah, they've all got pretty much the best gear. I'm not sure about Lazard because, well, yeah, he has the best gear as well. Though the thing about Lazard is, the problem with the Holy Wand of Telos is it gives you a resistance penalty, so you might want to go for the Wand of Apocalypse depending on what you want Lazard to do. But regardless, if he's equipped with the Flame Mist, it doesn't matter either ways, because the Flame Mist gives an elemental penalty to compensate for the fact that it makes you immune to pure physical attacks. So either ways, it kind of evens out. The Flame Mist is probably the best armor to give Lazard if he's going with the Holy Wand, but if he's not going with the Holy Wand, there's quite a lot of armors he can equip, to be honest. I mean, the Mirage Robe is probably a good choice, I would say, if you're going to go for him without it. But there's a lot of choices, it's up to you. I decided to go with the Flame Mist, just to have the Flame Mist. That's basically the gist of it. Because, as I say, like, if there is a physical attack and he can take that hit, then, yeah, he might as well be the guy to do the job. But anyways, now we're going to go to the final floor of the Seraphic Gate, and yeah, as I say, we're not even. I think the thing about it is I'm gonna obviously stop because this recording has more than just the Seraphic Gate in it, so I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna like cut it after like the Seraphic Gate is basically done. But yeah, either ways, we're going to floor 5, which is the final floor. This is where you'll be grinding for Infinite Admiration, which is like the best armor in the game for White Warriors, and Rune Crowns, which you want for basically everyone, and there's a setup that you have for that. The Rune Crown setup, basically what you want to do is you want to get Zunde, you want to give Zunde Heroism, and you want to also give him Ghostbuster, and yeah, like, you basically want to have Zunde, and basically to get across here, I like to use Powerless, like, not Powerless Cat Wrath, Powerless Pigeon Wrath, which you get from the floor next to where you fight Tiamat in a Seal Stone, which requires a bit of puzzle solving to get. I use that to cross over and fight them and just run from them, and then I just go further into it's the left room by the way, and then keep fighting the enemy until Wolfer and Gain show up, and Wolfer and Gain, you basically just keep, like, use Heroism and just kind of like try and focus on Gain. Every time Gain dies, he has a chance to drop a Rune Crown. Not Rune Crown, Ether Crown. My bad. Getting confused all the time. Yeah, he drops an Ether Crown. He might not drop an Ether Crown. It's a random drop, and it takes fucking ages to get that drop. It's a pain in the ass to get. But this is the Ethereal Queen here, folks. This is the signature post-game super boss of every Valve Profile game. As you can see, the Triace National Anthem's playing in the background. Incarnation of the Devil, which was originally one of the, like, the penultimate boss theme of Star Ocean 2. If you remember that, I'm not going to spoil who it is, but it's the second to last boss of Star Ocean 2, and then it became the Ethereal Queen, and like Gabriel Celeste theme song in later games, so yeah. In any case, yeah, what I was saying about Wolfer and Gain, yeah, like, she breaks a lot of stuff, but it's not that, like, I'm breaking a lot of stuff, but it's not that big of a deal, because she'll just regenerate, and that essentially does nothing. So, yeah. But what I was saying about Wolfer and Gain is, obviously, you want to keep killing Gain. You want to silence Gain so that it makes things a lot easier, which is basically like Lazard's job. Sometimes you'll fail. By the way, the Great Spear Dinosaur sucks. Why you want it anyways is beyond me when you can get fucking Gungnir on floor 3. But yeah, like, as you can see, I'm doing tremendous damage in the millions. Like, I'm dealing damage in the fucking millions here, boys. Like, that's just how powerful Dylan is with the White Loincloth. He is just a monster. Like, he is a fucking monster and a half. But yeah, I'm using Charge Breaks because fuck it. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna waste that health so I can just murder this bitch, because if I break something of her, then she doesn't get to use a move anyways, because she has to regenerate. And if I feint her, then I get to deal direct damage to her, which is in the millions. So yeah, I get to deal 1,000,000 damage to her. That's fun. Always fun when you get to deal 1,000,000 damage to a boss, and that's what I love about Valve Profile 2. But yeah, the Scarlet Shield move, which is the move that she had, that like ring sort of thing. That's kind of a weird attack, because sometimes you can avoid it even if you're just in the ring, because it hits outwardly. It's kind of weird to connect that attack. You can take advantage of that fact. But yeah, back to what I was saying about the Wolfer and Gain thing, and I've got break mode, so I'm gonna fucking bum the Ethereal Queen now. Dylan's gonna bum you. Yeah, you're kind of fucked now. Ethereal Queen, my ass. Like, Ethereal Queen's gonna be made Dylan's bitch now. Yeah. Also, the Ethereal Queen is voiced by Victoria Howard as well, just like Rosalie, so that's the second voice. So yes, she plays 2 roles in this game. This is the second role of all things. So, yeah. But what I was saying about Wolfer and Gain, you want to silence him using Dampen Magic with Lazard, which can fail, and it's a bit of a pain in the ass. It's probably the hardest thing to do in the whole game. I'm not going to lie, getting those Ether Crowns is a nightmare. But once you get them, then it's a lot easier to get everything else, I find. But yeah, doing that, getting him to use Dampen Magic, which can fail by the way, is a pain in the ass, but it's the one thing Lazard can do, and it's the one advantage to having Lazard in the group, just so that you can silence fucking Gain. And yeah, after that, like, you only have to watch out for Wolfer, and then basically just avoid Wolfer with everything you've got, and just like kill Gain, and then Wolfer will use Invoke Feather to bring Gain back, and every time you kill Gain, you will benefit from the Heroism skill, which will increase your attack damage by 20, like, it will basically give a 20% like multiplier to your attack damage, which is similar to like a Seal Stone and like critical skills, and it all stacks, and your damage will just go up to like insane numbers. So you'll basically just kill Gain in seconds at that point, and the longer you stay in the battle, the easier it gets. I mean, you'd think that you'd give him Observation, but no, Heroism is better, just simply because the damage increase from Heroism is so much greater than observation, and that's why I would recommend heroism, just simply because you'll be killing Gain a lot, and the more you kill him, the faster it is. So ideally you want to stay in the fight for as long as possible. That's the idea with the Wolfer and Gain fight. It's definitely the most complicated battle in the game, and probably the game's biggest challenge overall if you're going for perfect release. But once you get perfect release, everything's very straightforward. As you can see, the Ethereal Queen, her biggest weakness is the fact that every time you break something, she has to spend a turn, like, regenerating. And there you go, the Scarlet Shield didn't even hit fucking Dylan. Dylan's like, bitch, please, I could just walk around you with my, like, full swing like you did nothing to me. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird attack, is that. And yeah, it can easily miss. There's a few attacks in this game that the enemies do that just completely miss, even though like you walk into their hit area. For example, you have Dog Brahms, who has his fucking lamb shank or meat shank that he prods into you, and he can miss even though you just hit him at the edge of his attack area. It's so funny. But yeah, we're nearly done, and yeah, she's fainted, so we get to get a free hit, and we didn't fucking kill her. Of course we fucking didn't. Of course we fucking didn't. Which is kind of a bit of a shame. But all we need is another charge break and we win. So yeah. Now Dylan's just going to destroy the Ethereal Queen now. She's fucked now. There's no way that she can win. Yeah, she drops a Triumph Alpha, but it's not really worth getting. And that's how you get the Holy Wand of Telos. She drops it, basically. And yeah, like, that's one of the items needed for perfect release. So you'll need to do the Seraphic Gate, like, several times anyway. It's just the perfect release. Just simply to get those drops. And yeah, once the Ethereal Queen is done, you think it's over, right? Oh no! It's not over. Because there's one more thing to do. Now, the thing about it is that, obviously, like, there is something that you can do once you beat the Seraphic Gate 11 times. If you go over here, you can get this treasure chest which contains... Get ready for it. Well, hang on. like, you get this treasure chest, and this treasure chest contains what is supposed to be the best weapon in the game. It's kind of a joke weapon though, because you get the Angel Slayer, yeah! Now if you play Valkyrie Profile Covenant of the Plume, you will know what the Angel Slayer is. Yeah, it's the weapon, well, I'm not going to go into it, but you'll know what the Angel Slayer is canonically. But at this point, like, the Angel Slayer wasn't a canon weapon, it was just kind of like a bonus dungeon weapon that you get from the bonus dungeon. Anyways, the Angel Slayer is weird. Even though it's supposed to be the best weapon in the game, it's actually not, because the damage that it deals is completely random. Yeah, it's completely random. I mean, if you look at it, look at that. Those stats look amazing, don't they? The problem is that the damage it deals is random, so you can't actually manipulate the damage, which makes the setup that I have for Dylan better. Now, you can give the Angel Slayer to just about any character, so obviously I decided to give it to Lazard. Of course I do. He's my favourite character, and given the fact that Mages is so gimped as it is, I can at least make him look good, at least stat-wise, and say, look, he has like 10,000 attack and magic, even though it's completely pointless. I'm just like, whatever, just give it to Lazard. Okay, so we are now at the toughest fight in the game, and quite possibly the most annoying super boss of all time, Determined Durner. Yeah, this is the hardest fight in the game, and we're ready for it, don't you worry. But I've got to say, like, Tri-Ace, they really couldn't have picked a more annoying super boss to fight. Like, fucking Durner, like, she has the same fucking voice actress as fucking Miracle from Star Ocean 4, which should tell you all you need to know. Like, she's very annoying, high-pitched, squeaky, magical girl, like... It's like really annoying, and every single time, like, she's basically the sort of character that is designed to be like as annoying as possible and as obnoxious as possible, to the point that you really don't want to lose to her, because yeah, the game it's basically the game takes the piss out of her. I mean, takes the piss out of you for losing to her, basically, because yeah, she's basically. Like, she's that sort of character, isn't she, really? She's basically just there to be as obnoxious and as annoying as possible, and it's kind of ironic how, like, this sort of character archetype is, like, the toughest fight in the game. It's, like, the ultimate irony. But at the same time, I think it's intentional that they made her annoying, simply because they wanted to make it so that the boss would kick your ass so much that like it would annoy you and make it so much more satisfying when you finally beat it. It's one of those sort of things, isn't it? But yeah, they really wanted to make a point of making this fucking boss fight as annoying as possible. They really did. But Determined Durna, like, she has, as you can see, she has multiple forms. Now, the reason why she's not doing anything to me right now is because I'm already silenced. She was going to use Dampen Magic. She likes to use that a lot. That's the best thing she can do to you, honestly, because silence isn't really a problem unless you're a mage. So, yeah, basically, the strategy here, like, you can use Tome of Alchemy if you want, and that can get rid of all the clones. Or you can basically deal with the clones, which is what I'm doing. I mean, Dylan is strong enough to deal with the clones himself, so it's not really a huge deal. Charge breaks are a bit dangerous. I'm using one just simply for the sake of it right here because, like, I've got enough health to do it, so I decided to do it. But I would recommend just letting Dylan die and letting him soak up the blow, because honestly, I think that it's a lot safer to do that. But I would recommend getting rid of the Demi-Shadows first. There are other ways that you can destroy the Demi-Shadows, like you can get the demon's left arm, I think. Either that or the right arm. Basically, it has instant death. It adds instant death to your attacks, so you can use an instant death move, and every hit gives a chance to kill instantly. So yeah, they are susceptible to instant death, and you can take advantage of that. Obviously, Durna herself is not. Only her clones are. So Tome of Alchemy or that can kill them instantly. But I decided to just use Dylan's pure power to do the job, because he can do the job pretty well. And having Brahms in the party is a good thing because he can tank most of her moves. I've given him the tank setup now because that Hurst had, because, well, he has more health and he can withstand a lot more damage. So yeah, that's kind of Brahms' job. His job is to kind of be the guy that we fall back on when Dylan dies. And his job is basically to survive this annoying boss for as long as possible. Whereas Dylan's job is to whoop ass, which isn't anything new for Dylan. He's a professional at doing that. So basically, yeah, get behind her and just smack her in the back repeatedly until you run out of AP, and then she'll kill you in one hit, because look at that damage. I'm pretty sure that was over 100k damage overall. So yeah, you don't want to fuck with her. But you gotta bear in mind the Conqueror's Armor, which Dylan has equipped with, has elemental penalties to it. Like pretty much everything that has a benefit, like be it attack or like the best magic weapon in the game, like, well, not everything, but like the best magic weapon in the game, like the Holy One of Telos, like the Flame Mist and the Conqueror's Armor, they all have a penalty to elemental resistance, so obviously it deals a lot more damage to Dylan because of that. But Brahms has like elemental resistance, so it's not as big of an issue for him. So yeah. Now, another reason why I am basically doing this, why I'm basically saying kill the Demi-Shadows, is because you can take advantage of Heroism, which I think Dylan is equipped with. I forget if he's equipped with it at this point, but basically Heroism can definitely make this fight go by a lot faster. The only problem is, well, a lot easier. The only problem is that it takes a while because you have to basically kill them. So that's one thing to bear in mind, but it is something that you can take advantage of. So Heroism is usable here because of the Demi-Shadows. So the Demi-Shadows actually play to your advantage in that regard, because you can benefit from the damage increase once they're dead. So it's actually a good thing to have the Demi-Shadows. Now, I've noticed through this battle, actually, the foolproof talismans in this game are a load of bullshit. Like, I actually tried fighting this boss, and eventually they just kind of backed me into a corner where I basically couldn't survive, and I decided, you know what, I can't do the other thing, because if I did the other thing, then I would die anyways. And I said, let's try a foolproof trinket. And it didn't work, and I wiped, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, I learned that the hard way, so I wouldn't bother using foolproof trinkets, honestly, like, I just wouldn't. And yeah, Hurst is dead, but as you can see, Brahms, he's the tank, so he can survive. So that's kind of the plan. Once all the Demi-Shadows are down, this is going to be a lot easier to manage, because it's just Durna on her own, and Durna on her own is a lot easier to deal with than all of these clones hanging around, which are not fun to deal with. The only downside to attacking the clones, really, is obviously if you're going for a direct assault, which I'm not, because what's the point? There's not really much of a point in doing so, there's nothing really to gain. The only reason why you want to do a direct assault on Derna is for bragging rights rewards, which if you're playing on 1 crystal or higher, there's just no point anyways, just because you will not be able to direct assault determine Derna whatsoever, particularly on the later runs. But if you're playing like on like regular difficulty on the first run, you absolutely can one-shot her with Dylan if you have perfect release to Dylan. You absolutely can. So yeah, that's something to bear in mind. But I'm not sure if you can one-shot her like... Let's put it this way, I think it is possible with Wrath of Forcefulness, but I forget. But you can deal a lot of damage to her with Dylan, like on the first run, and you can basically kill her if you can manage to like get the damage that he's able to do. But obviously this is not the first run, this is the 11th run, so she has a lot more health. Like, as you can see, I'm dealing damage in the millions now because I've got heroism, and yeah, it's basically piled on the damage for Dylan. Obviously, like if I wanted to, I could give Dylan Wrath of Forcefulness, which would make him deal that sort of damage anyway. So yeah, but the problem is that would mean that my weapon would have a chance to break, which is kind of annoying, and I don't really want to deal with that. So I just think the white loincloth is enough. I don't want to waste time dealing with all that bullshit. And she also has a great magic, which is Meteor Swarm, which, well, Rams is immune to because the Tri-Emblem basically protects his ass. That's the idea, that's his job. To survive everything. So yeah, she's basically just this annoying magical girl who just has this squeaky annoying voice, which is just really obnoxious, and she's just there to annoy you, which I'm like, really game? Really, game developers? They knew what they were doing. They wanted to make this boss as annoying as possible. They really did. They wanted to make her character annoying, just simply to add to the fact that they wanted to annoy you as much as possible with this fight. But regardless, we're nearly done. She's just like hanging off a thread now. But Dylan's about to bum her. There we go. She's down, finally. We've finally beaten the Seraphic Gate, and we've finally finished Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria's bonus dungeon, and we have... Well, I suppose you could, like, there is other things that you could do, but yeah, this is the end. The end of Valkyrie Profile 2, guys! We did it! We beat the Seraphic Gate completely. We've completely done, like, all of the 11 runs of Seraphic Gate, and we got the Angel Slayer, and we beat Determined Derna on the 11th run, so there's not really anything else to do in this game. Like, that's it. Once you've done this, that's the end. I mean, you can go back and fight the final boss if you want to, and get a slightly different ending, but like other than that, there's really not much else to it. So yeah, thank you guys for sticking around with me for this wonderful game, and I'll see you all later.